Are you struggling to make the most out of your Spring Boot Data JPA application? If so, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into how to effectively use criteria queries in your application. I completely understand how frustrating it can be when you want to optimize your database queries, but feel stuck with traditional methods. You're not alone in this. Many developers face similar challenges. Let's take a closer look at a specific question from a user. They have an application using Spring Boot Data JPA and are currently using a repository method with a complex query. They want to know how to implement criteria queries instead. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So, what exactly are criteria queries? They provide a more flexible and dynamic way to build queries in Hibernate. This can be especially useful when dealing with complex queries or when you need to build queries dynamically based on user input. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a quick tip that will make your criteria queries even more efficient. To begin using criteria queries in a Spring Boot Data JPA application, the user should first ensure that they have the necessary dependencies in their project. This includes the Spring Data JPA and Hibernate dependencies. Next, the user should create a criteria query to fetch the student names based on the course name. This involves using the criteria builder and criteria query classes provided by JPA. After creating the criteria query, the user should implement this method in their repository interface. This allows for easy access to the method from their service layer. Finally, the user can call this new method from their service class to retrieve the student names based on the specified course name. This integrates the criteria query into their application. Fun fact, did you know that Hibernate was named after a type of ancient Roman soldier? Just like those soldiers, Hibernate helps you navigate the complexities of database interactions. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach suggests using the JPA Criteria API for your Spring Boot application. This method is recommended over Hibernate template for new projects as it aligns with current best practices. To implement this, you can use the criteria builder to create a criteria query. First, obtain the criteria builder from the entity manager, then create your query and define the root entity. Make sure to auto-wire the entity manager in your class to access these features. For more details, refer to the JPA Criteria API documentation. That wraps up that answer. Let's move on to another one. This user suggests referring to the Spring Data JPA documentation on query creation. They highlight that JPA provides multiple query creation options based on method names, allowing you to avoid using string queries. Here's the quick tip I promised. Always use parameterized queries with criteria queries to prevent SQL injection attacks. It's a simple step that can save you a lot of trouble down the line. And there you have it. You now know how to implement criteria queries in your Spring Boot Data JPA application. Remember, practice makes perfect. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks.